You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I don't know about you guys, but I realized fairly quickly that this game was going to come down to the final couple of minutes. I thought it in the first half, especially because the game was tied after the first half, 37-37. And then after the first few minutes of the second half, I knew that basically nothing mattered until the final couple minutes of the game, because for one way or another, this game was going to be close, which it was. And it was Georgetown, it pains me to say this, it was Georgetown that made the plays to win. And it was Syracuse once again not executing down the stretch. Syracuse basketball does not make a basket for the final 4+ minutes of the game. I believe it was Jaquan Carlos's corner three-pointer. That was the last field goal the Orange made the entire game. Oof. A team in Syracuse that was dominating Georgetown inside. That was their whole offense. Donnie Freeman, Jyare Davis, Eddie Lampkin inside. That was it. And you know what? It was working. And like I said against Albany, that needs to be the team's identity. Keep doing that. Play inside. But for the final couple of minutes, they decide, no, let's shoot some three-pointers. How about that? Are you kidding me? Let's go to the 150 mark in this game. There's 1 minute and 50 seconds left, and Syracuse is down by 3 points. They're down by 3. Now, most of you guys who are watching or listening are astute in basketball knowledge. If you have the ball and you are down 3 points with 150 to go, do you need to panic and take three-pointers? No, you don't. You can keep playing basically the same way you have been playing the entire game, but the Orange decided, no, we need a three-pointer. I mean, I'll unload on coaching for a second here with the substitutions. I mean, Chris Bell was put on the floor late in the game. Oh, but Jackson, you need a three-pointer. Don't you need Chris Bell? He can't shoot anymore. Chris Bell is a complete liability. He can't be on the floor. 0-3 from three-point this afternoon. He can't shoot. He hasn't shot all season. He's put on the floor for Jyare Davis, who was dominating inside. Jyare Davis had 15 points on only 8 field goal attempts, and he played 24 minutes. How is it that Jyare Davis played 24 minutes and Chris Bell played 23 minutes? Really? It should be 35 minutes, Jyare Davis, 5 minutes for Chris Bell, if he's lucky. But no, he played 23, and he was in the game in the final 2 minutes because Syracuse needs a three-pointer. They don't need a three. But they put Chris Bell in for Jyare Davis anyway. What it should have been was Davis, Donnie Freeman, and Eddie Lampkin down the stretch. That's what they needed to do. By the way, Eddie Lampkin just no looks inside at the end of the game. Okay, sure, fine. I mean, he was only Syracuse's best player this afternoon. 18 points on 8 of 12 field goals. Played 36 minutes, but sure, don't get him looks inside when he's just killing them down low. Okay, fine. That's cool. So what was the offense for the Orange late in the game? They're down by 3 with 1:50 to go. Well, they already screwed up the personnel that's on the floor. Thank you, Coach Autry and the rest of your coaching staff. Their offensive possession is a complete dud. There's ball movement. It's Carlos. It's Choppa. It's Donnie. Donnie's at the top of the key. But nobody's moving. It's just stagnant. What are we doing here, fellas? I mean, come on. You can't come up with something better than what they were doing? It was a 3-man game, just moving the ball around. I appreciate the ball movement, but you got to actually move without the ball to get an open look. Otherwise, the Georgetown defense can just set its feet and just let you move, which is exactly what they did. And they forced Choppa more late in the shot clock to take a deep right wing contested 3. Did it go in? No. The only thing they got right is if they were going to take a three, which they didn't even need, Choppa is the guy who I would want shooting the three. But you need a better play than what they ran. How about go inside, which had been working? And a little bit of it has to be placed on Donnie because Donnie had a good look. Donnie needs to turn around. But maybe a coach should probably tell him that. Maybe, just maybe. Then on the next offensive possession, here's really where I need to get on Donnie Freeman. He just decides to play hero ball. Why is he taking a right wing three early in the shot clock? There's still well over a minute left in the game. It makes no sense. It's like their basketball IQ just goes out the window. What was working in the afternoon? Syracuse basketball was dominating inside. The points in the paint don't really reflect it because in the next segment, we'll talk about the transition points, the fast break points. But Syracuse basketball scored 34 points in the paint. They scored 71 for the game, but they dominated in free throw attempts. They didn't really make a whole lot of free throws. They were 21 to 29, which is 72%. That's a whole nother story. We won't talk about it because it's not egregious. But part of the reason why they don't have as many points in the paint is because they made 21 free throws and had 29 free throw attempts. Their offense came from the paint, and you're down 3 points with a minute 50 to go. And your first play, well, it's really not a play. So Choppa just has to chuck up a late right wing three. That didn't go in. Of course it didn't go in. And then the next possession, Donnie Freeman, I don't know what he's doing, just decides to play hero ball. It's poor late game execution. It's simple as that. And that's why this team, in a back and forth game against a hated rival, in a game where, look, we can talk about the Georgetown and Syracuse rivalry and how it's not the same as what it once was. It clearly isn't. But I was getting into it. I think most of you guys were getting into it too. Especially in that second half with the whole Lucas Taylor and the other guy on Georgetown getting double technicals and Choppa being a little physical. We were getting into it. It felt a little bit like the past, which I am not really old enough to remember or experience. But it certainly felt that way. Felt a little bit different, just a little glimpse of what it once was. But Georgetown executed better down the stretch.